Let me show you what I'm talking about. I use Avatar for Avatar, kind of an inside joke. But if you notice, I have friends or business people in here as well. I could have customers in here, and I could speak to them privately. I could discuss business or publicly across the board. We should have a minimum of 10,000 or more people as members, not including customers, within the first 6 months, growing to a couple 100,000. So this will give access to a community of people helping people, because that's what this is about. And you can literally build your business. You can advertise your current businesses as well, because there's a section in here where you can put your side business. So for example, if you sell insurance, you can have a one-page insurance sales page for advertising, and we're going to have a directory. So if somebody in your area is looking for an insurance agent or a real estate agent or an attorney, for example, you type attorney, zip code, and everybody in that zip code or in a certain mileage will pop up. It'll have a rating system, a testimonial system. So this will help also promote your other businesses. Also, when you go to forums, the more important thing is if say you're doing a loan modification and you want more help than was in the software, you simply click on loan modification in the community site, go to expert panel, and ask a question, and it will be answered by someone on the expert panel. Who's on the expert panel? Loan mod industry experts. For example, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac approved senior negotiators. Who better to ask about your loan mod than an actual bank negotiator? Those are the types of people asking these questions. All the question and answers that are asked that are good question and answers will be put into the database, so you can simply ask your question and instantly get your question answered prior to even going into the expert panel. We'll also put those question and answers in that artificial intelligence help desk, that girl I showed you a minute ago in that little computer thing. More importantly, we also have daily information and industry information educating people about loan modifications. Okay, this will prevent much unneeded stress that is caused by this, because many people don't know how the process works. So this will prevent that extra stress. It also has many changes in law and everything that's going on in the industry. So for example, the HAMP beginning in June 1st is changing. Beginning June 1st, borrowers will be required to provide upfront proof of income and request for a tax return transcript when applying for a modification. Currently now, we could call over the phone and sometimes get a pre-trial payment within the hour. As of June 1st, you will no longer be able to do that. But why would you just send a couple of documents? Because the whole point of that is, as soon as you do that, most banks will just push it aside and let it sit there for 2 months before sending you a letter stating, oh, we're missing something. And now you have to start all over again, because everything has to be within the last 30 days. Income, assets, for example. You have to resubmit everything because it already went past the 30, 60, or 90-day mark. Okay. Also, if you notice, they did try to make things better by saying banks and services will also be required to respond within 10 days to a modification request with a receipt proving they received it. Okay, well, that's good. Within 30 days, a servicer must award or reject a trial modification. Well, that would be good, but the problem is they just contradicted themselves, because they already gave them an out by saying, or rule the application incomplete. Well, of course, all the banks are going to do this, because most banks can't get this done in 30 days. So all they have to simply say is you forgot a cover page, you forgot to check off a box, etc. Okay? So that basically just negated that whole rule about the 30 days. All right? But this is letting people know what's going on. Another thing I wanted to show you, if you remember the products we were talking about, loan modification, foreclosure, short sale, credit restoration, asset protection, debt settlement. Well, if you notice down here, we also have panels for CPAs, general attorneys, mortgage, medical, real estate, health, and growing. The reason for that, a perfect example, Brian has brought Bo here, and I want to let him explain what happened, because this is very important.
I was going through the problem of, I thought I was Donald Trump. I bought too much real estate, and that's how I met Paul. Paul was helping me out of a financial situation and with all the properties that I had. But he told me about this company, and I was begging him for months away to get involved, and he finally broke down and told me what it was about. So I love the concept, but I know nothing about the market. I know nothing about the loan mods, short sales, that type of thing. So I grew up with Bo Dennis. He's an attorney in Fort Lauderdale, and we grew up in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. And I gave him a call because I'm here in West Palm Beach, Florida. And I said, Bo, I have something that's really intriguing. I'd like you to take a look at it before I go bringing my sons, my friends, my in-laws involved in something. I want you to look at it, dissect it, like you were in right if you were in a case in the courtroom. And he said, sure, Brian. He laughed, and he came up and he sat down. Well, he not only looked at it, but he was so impressed, he got involved. Now, Bo is in a firm with 650 people, 680, whatever it is. It's a big firm down in Fort Lauderdale, and he's diligently trying to bring people in himself and get involved in the company, and he's doing a tremendous job with that. But, Bo, I trust immensely. And I would take a bullet for Paul. I trust Paul immensely also, but before I brought the in-laws, I definitely wanted him to check it out. And he did, and he loved it.
Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, the reason why I bring up Bo is because he got involved in this company, but not only did he do that, he actually offered to be on the expert panel. Well, the thing about that, and the reason why that is huge, is because we might not have a software for what he does, because he's now an injury attorney. He used to be a corporate attorney, but he's now an injury malpractice attorney. So we might not have a software for that, but if you're a member or a customer and you get into an accident, who better to ask than Bo, the attorney? You see where this is going? We have up to 50 CPAs already part of this company because we're creating a software where you could do your personal taxes or your business taxes. Just enter the information, does your tax, you have a question, ask the CPA on the panel. We have doctors that are going to be on the panel, and it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. What is that worth to be able to talk to corporate attorneys, real estate attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys, etc.? What is the value in that? Medical problems, you can ask a doctor on the panel. That's included for all of our members and some of our customers. We might not have a software, but we'll have panels for every industry. The whole point of this is a community of people helping people. It goes right back to that. Also, we have building your business. We have trainings and things to help you build your business if you decide to make money doing this business. We have internal chats. You can talk privately to each other. We have games, everything you can think of, just like a Facebook, because we want people to not only do business, but speak to their friends, speak to their customers. The reason for that is, unlike Facebook, you have 100 people on Facebook, you have 100 friends. If you have 100 people in Acopia, you get paid, because you get paid for having people as friends, members, or customers in Acopia. That's the whole point of this community site. Also, help build your business, because this also links to Facebook. You can easily link your friends from Facebook as well, and just continue to add things and value to this community site to continue to help make it grow. That's probably about enough about that. I could go all day about the community site, but more importantly, I want to get back to the PowerPoint. The future of online family solutions. Like I said, the first things we're going to be rolling out is loan modification, short sale, credit restoration, debt settlement, asset protection, and more. And this is just the beginning. I want to go into debt settlement now because this is popping up everywhere across the country. Debt settlement is huge, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's very lucrative. It's one of the fastest growing industries. It's making hundreds of millions of dollars nationwide, and that's why everybody's doing it. I don't know if you noticed, but even mortgage brokers, attorneys are now starting to do that. A lot of them don't really have an idea of what they're doing, and they may not be that experienced either. So this is why I'm glad we have the software. Debt settlement can be tedious if it's done correctly, but is it worth it? And I'll give you a perfect example of why it is worth it. Let's just take, for example, $100,000 in 6 credit cards. The average national minimum percentage that these companies make for doing the debt settlement is 15%. So as a company, the minimum they normally would charge is $15,000 for negotiating 6 credit cards based on $100,000. So is it worth it? Absolutely. I do it for $15,000. Actually, we are certified arbitrators nationwide for the past 4 years. We don't charge that much because we're always under the national average. But still, even if you made 5, 10 grand, is it worth it? Absolutely. Did they care if it costs that much? No. I'll give you a perfect example. One of our clients had $97,000 in credit cards. We got him down to $23,000, including our fee. So did he care what the fee was? Absolutely not, because he saved $74,000. Most people don't care. They just want to get out of it because nowadays credit card companies are suing, and because they know people either don't have enough money for an attorney to go to court or they're just too scared to show up. And in Florida, as soon as you don't show up, you automatically get a judgment, and it's many times 3 times the amount you truly owed plus interest. So a lot of the credit card companies are trying to get judgments against people. Well, this software will help them with that as well, but even more so, help them negotiate it and settle it so it'll help their credit. If I went back to the same person, I said, you know what, everything we did, because we even do things a step further. We do things legally. So, for example, we have cease and desist letters so they stop harassing the customers. Everything we did step by step, our client could have did the same exact thing online very simply, but only for $495 plus a small monthly fee until he's done. What is he going to say? Of course he'd want to do it because he saved over $14,000. Not only that, he educated himself, which is the most important thing, to help prevent that from happening again, and if it does, he can take care of it himself. It's all about educating people and helping people. So this is going to be a huge product to sell because I don't think anyone in this industry, in debt settlement industry, is going to be able to compete with this, and none of them will probably want to sell for $495 when they're making millions of dollars nationwide on it. Asset protection. Another very important product. Who needs asset protection? My opinion, everyone. You have any assets, a family, a business, any risk of being sued, you should have asset protection. Most people that need asset protection, but they don't do it until it's too late, and that's the problem. Many times it might be too expensive for somebody to do it. Well, first thing I would do if I want to open a corporation is open up in a Nevada LLC. Why? They have the best protection laws for any company in the United States, better in Delaware, better in Wyoming. Not only that, they don't automatically report to the IRS. Many people don't realize that. Another important thing, you do not have to publicly file and show who owns this company. So if they want to sue you, they got to find out who you are first. I would take it a step further than that. I would own that with another Nevada incorporation or LLC. You can even own that 4 different companies, 4 different people, whatever you want to do. You don't necessarily have to do that, but you can. And I would even take it a step further than that. I'd own that with a trust. The reason is the wealthiest people in the world have all said, do not own anything. Control it. Because it's hard to take something away from you if you don't own it. Even Nelson Rockefeller here says, secrets of success is to own nothing but control everything. And after I open up that trust, I take all my assets and I would put it in that trust for that business. Because here's the thing. Somebody wants to sue you. You're operating out of this corporation here. Well, guess what? They don't even know who you are. So they probably have to pay somebody to find out who you are and what assets you have. Once they find that out, who owns that company? Okay, this one. Who's that? I don't know. It's not publicly posted. So they might have to pay somebody as well to find out that company what assets they have. So if it costs them money to find out who you are and what you have, it's a strong deterrent from them to even want to sue you to begin with. But better yet, even if they found out who this trust was, because trust isn't always filed publicly. It could be very difficult to find out who owns that trust, who the trust is, and what assets they have. But even if they do, now they have to abide by all the trust laws. Probably have to get a more expensive trust attorney and fight more protective laws that protect people in a trust. So the whole point of this is if it costs them tens of thousands of dollars before they even start to sue you, chances are they may not want to, and that's the whole point. And even if they do, you're much more protected. Since assets are owned by the trust, you do not own the assets. LLC is safe, and the assets are safe. Family trust. If you own a house, a car, a CD, anything, you should have a family trust, in my opinion. Why? If God forbid something happens to you, what happens to the house? Probate could take up to 2-3 years for it to go through the state. You got to pay taxes. Everybody gets involved. Attorneys get involved. It could be fighting over it. Even you can contest a will. Even for a perfect example, Brian had the same situation. Brian, you want to explain that?
Yeah, my wife's uncle passed away and left her and her 3 sisters and 2 cousins with a substantial will. He had homes in Pennsylvania and Ohio. Well, between the collapse of the real estate market, the government, and attorney's fees, 2.5 years later, approximately $2.5 million turned into less than $300,000. Needless to say, for my wife and my 3 sons, I never want them to go through that. So I set up a trust. So, you know, when I grew up, everything was a will. I didn't even know what a trust was. I saw this, and I think this is going to be a huge product because everybody needs it.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it. If you had a couple million worth of properties and something happened and it went into probate, if that happened 2.5 years ago, what would that have been worth today by the time it was settled? You could lose 50-60% in value just because of the time it took to finish that probate. So that's the whole point. What is it worth to get all this asset protection? Perfect example, my sister was on my dad's car insurance in New York. She got in an accident. They sued my dad for 2 of his houses. If it was in a trust, first of all, they wouldn't even known about the houses, and even if they did, he doesn't own them. He controls them. It wouldn't even been put into the lawsuit. It would have saved him a lot of heartache. Needless to say, he won 2.5 years later of struggling, but now he's putting everything into a trust. And that's the whole point. I mean, you could have your brother here, your children here, your friends here, whoever you want in a trust. You can even have it owned by a corporation. Benefits of family trust: avoid probate, death transfer taxes, protect you from creditors from a lawsuit. If you have judgments for something else, it will not attach to the trust because you don't own it. Same thing. It keeps all your finances and business affairs private. You don't want everybody knowing your business.